Damon left his girlfriend without a word when she was at her poorest. Years later, after she became successful, she had people find him and forced him to marry her. Everyone says she loves him, that he's the one she holds closest to her heart. But just days after the wedding, she started getting intimate with all sorts of men, even bringing them home at night. It pierced his heart and turned him into the laughingstock of their social circle. He didn't say a word about it, just silently moved into the guest room. But that only seemed to infuriate her. Eyes red, she'd kiss him hard and demand angrily, "Don't you feel anything at all?" Every moment she spent provoking him, all Damon could think about was how many days he had left. She didn't know Damon was terminally ill, that every living second was filled with pain. Less than 3 months into his marriage with Anya Volkov, friends had already sent him pictures of her getting cozy with more than different men. Leo Petrova's been around Ms. Volkov for a whole month now, longer than any of the others. They don't think Anya Volkov's actually catching feelings for Leo, do they? Damon stared silently at the photo his friend sent. It showed the two of them leaving a hotel, an unmistakable intimacy in the way they looked at each other. Looks like they spent the night together. He needed to do something before it's too late. His finger hovered over the screen, but in the end, he just turned off his iPhone. Yesterday was his birthday, but he woke up aching all over, his nose bleeding uncontrollably. He went to City General Hospital for a full checkup, and the doctor told him he probably wouldn't live to see next summer. It only took a few seconds for Damon to accept it. He wasn't afraid of dying, just the pain he couldn't bear. The doctor said there was medication that could lessen the pain. The only problem was the price. He couldn't afford it. His only option was to go to Anya Volkov. When Damon arrived at the Volkov group, the person who greeted him was Leo Petrova. Leo Petrova had a clean-cut, almost boyish look, exactly Anya Volkov's type. He was a senior at Stanford, just a young college kid who'd started as Anya Volkov's secretary a month ago. "Ms. Volkov's still in a meeting. Just stand here and wait," Leo Petrova said, tilting his head back to look down his nose at Damon. Damon ignored him and sat down in a chair to wait. Leo Petrova scoffed, annoyed, and walked over to a colleague, whispering, "How is the boss's husband so ugly? His face is ghost white, like he's about to drop dead. He doesn't match Ms. Volkov and all." The colleague, startled, quickly tugged his sleeve. "He probably just hasn't rested well. Actually, you kind of look like him, but when he's well, he's much more handsome than you. Ms. Volkov really loves him. I'd advise you to tone down your attitude and don't provoke him, or Ms. Volkov won't let you off easy." Leo Petrova curled his lip dismissively. "How do I look anything like him? I'm obviously way better looking than that ugly guy. You must be blind." Even though they kept their voices low, the office was quiet and Damon heard every word clearly. He was bundled in a bulky coat, his face pale and gaunt from the pain. Ugly indeed, and dying indeed. Leo Petrova really didn't like people saying Anya Volkov loved Damon more. "Damon, have some water," Leo said, changing his tune. "Ms. Volkov is just really busy with work. That's why she's keeping him waiting so long. Please don't worry. It's just that usually when he came looking for Ms. Volkov, she drops whatever she's doing to see him, no matter how busy she is." Damon thought she was like that with everyone, but he guessed not though. Leo feigned hesitation. A smug smile played on his lips. His words clearly meant to show how important he was to Anya Volkov. Seeing the dimples that appeared when he smiled gave Damon a jolt. He really did look like him. Actually, there was some truth to what Leo Petrova said. Anya Volkov did treat him differently than the other men. Over the past 3 months, Anya had a constant stream of lovers, sometimes even bringing them home overnight, making sure Damon saw them. But Damon knew they were just pawns she used to provoke him. Leo Petrova, however, was different. Anya's flings with the other men lasted 5 days at most, some not even half a day. Only Leo Petrova had lasted a full month. She took him to the movies, amusement parks, out to dinner, shopping. She even bought him a mansion to live in. Anya Volkov gave him money and affection. They were like any other loving young couple. Damon pressed his lips together, forcing down the wave of pain, and reached for the water glass. Smiling gently, Damon tilted his head and asked softly, "If she cares about you so much, why does she still let you be a gold digger?" Leo Petrova's face flushed an ugly red. "If you hadn't gotten lucky and met Ms. Volkov before I did, why would she ever be with you? You're so ugly and worn out now. How can you possibly compare to me?" Besides, haven't you heard? The one who isn't loved is the real gold digger. Ms. Volkov loves me now, so you're the gold digger. The nerve of that statement. The smile didn't leave Damon's lips. If anything, it grew gentler. If she loves you that much, she must listen to whatever you say, right? Leo Petrova's mood brightened, his lips curving into a smile. Of course, whatever I ask for, Ms. Volkov buys me. In that case, Damon said, if you asked her to divorce him and marry you instead, she'd definitely agree. Leo Petrova's smile froze. Damon paid him no mind, adding softly, you should go for it. I believe in you. His colleague must have sensed the shift in atmosphere and quickly tried to lead Leo Petrova away, but Damon actually meant what he said. He decided long ago not to let Anya Volkov get under his skin. She wasn't worth it. Not worth his sadness, his anger, or his jealousy. Leo Petrova ignored his colleague, snatched the water glass from Damon's hand, lost his balance, and stumbled to the ground. Hot water splashed all over him, and the glass shattered on the floor. He scrambled to apologize, bowing repeatedly. I'll pick it up right now, Damon. Please don't be angry. He crouched down to pick up the shards, but gashed his palm deeply. Blood welled up immediately. Anya Volkov, looking through the office window, immediately spotted the injured Leo Petrova. She threw open the door and rushed to Leo Petrova's side, grabbing his hand, her eyes filled with concern. Leo Petrova looked down, his voice weak. I'm fine, it was my own fault. I was clumsy. Please don't blame anyone else. Anya Volkov scanned the area, her gaze finally settling on Damon. Who gave you permission to hurt Leo Petrova? Damon opened his mouth, but the explanation died on his lips when he met her icy glare. So what if he did? Damon heard himself say. Leo Petrova looked startled for a second, then his voice took on an even more wounded tone. It's my fault for being a gold digger, for being the other man, for falling for someone I shouldn't have. Damon has every right to be angry. I deserve it, but I really can't control my feelings. As long as you don't send me away, I'm willing to be your lover for the rest of my life. He looked tenderly at Anya Volkov, confessing his deep affection. Ms. Volkov, I love you. Anya Volkov chuckled softly and gently hugged him. I know. Don't be upset and don't take his words to heart. Leo Petrova was truly different to Anya Volkov, unlike anyone else. Remembering why he'd come, Damon pulled his gaze back and said coldly, he needed $. Anya Volkov sneered, staring at him and gritting her teeth. Just as she thought, asking for money again. You really are a gold digger. Although Anya Volkov and Damon had been married for 3 months, they didn't even have each other's contact information. The few times Damon sought her out were always for money. It was clearly agreed upon from the start. If he agreed to marry her, she would give him money before, no matter the amount she would give it to him. But this time she looked at him with a smirk. I can give you the money, but first you have to kneel and apologize to Leo Petrova. Damon closed his eyes, his voice weak. Impossible. Anya Volkov was willing to humiliate him just to stand up for Leo Petrova. The pain spreading through his heart at that moment was so intense, he couldn't even feel the physical ache in his body. Anya Volkov scoffed. Are you sure you don't want to reconsider? Just think, if you swallow your pride, that $1 could be yours. Damon let out a soft breath. No, thank you. Forcing back the pain, he turned and strode away. It was February now, the wind howling bone-chillingly cold, but his heart felt even colder. Anya Volkov, if you knew later that this money could have let him live a little longer, a little more comfortably, would you regret your decision today? The short distance from the Volkov group building to his place took him an hour, trembling the whole way back. Home, he took his medicine and curled up under the covers. He took sleeping pills, just wanted to sleep deeply enough not to feel the pain. Soon Damon drifted into a dream, back to a time when Anya Volkov still loved him. He was then, and Anya Volkov hadn't started her business yet. She was far from being as wealthy as she was now. It was Valentine's Day, and Anya Volkov and Damon were walking hand in hand in the light snow when they suddenly saw a couple coming out of a flower shop. The boy held a peony bouquet, strikingly vibrant against the white snow. Damon couldn't help but stare. Sigh, it's so beautiful. Anya Volkov silently hugged him, hiding her reddened eyes from him, and didn't leave his side until dark. It wasn't until 3 days later, on his birthday, that she appeared below his dormitory holding a peony bouquet. The bouquet cost a full $41. She had spent 3 whole days out in the freezing cold, handing out tens of thousands of flyers just to earn $50. His heart ached. Looking at her face pale and bloodless from the cold, he reached out and hugged her, his voice choked. Anya Volkov, I'm not worth you sacrificing your health like this. Anya Volkov kissed him, silencing his words. After a long moment she pulled back. And you are worth it, Damon. You deserve the best things in the world. She pushed the flowers into his arms, smiling. Damon, you're more beautiful than the flowers. He couldn't stop his eyes from welling up, tears streaming down. Don't cry, don't cry. It's your birthday today, you can't be unhappy. I bought a red velvet cake too. Anya Volkov picked up the red velvet cake she'd placed nearby, looking a bit embarrassed. I didn't have much money left after buying the flowers, so I could only get an inch cake, but I won't eat any. It's all for you. He looked at the inch cake and chuckled softly. It's enough for us to share. That day, amidst the blanketing snow, Anya Volkov and Damon finished the red velvet cake, 1 spoonful each. He doesn't remember what the cake tasted like, only that it was incredibly sweet. He'd never eaten a red velvet cake that delicious since, nor had he ever seen a sight more radiant than Anya Volkov holding those flowers. Half asleep, Damon thought he heard Anya Volkov calling his name. Cherishing a moment, his voice came out soft. Anya, I want a peony bouquet, and I want to eat red velvet cake. As the words left his lips, before he could hear Anya Volkov's reply, he fell deeply asleep again. When Damon woke up, it was the middle of the night. Heavy snow was falling outside. Just then the door opened, and Anya Volkov walked in. She came to his bedside, frowning. Why do you look so pale? Are you feeling unwell? Perhaps it was the deep night or the warmth of the lamp. Her voice held a trace of concern, just like back when she still loved him. Damon was stunned for a moment. As he realized she was about to touch his face, he snapped back to reality and slapped her hand away. Don't touch me. Anya Volkov looked at her reddened hand, her expression turning ugly. Damon, what the hell is wrong with you? He didn't answer, to scoff back. Why are you back? She had bought Leo Petrova a mansion where they stayed together this past month. She had spent many nights there and hadn't been back here in a long time. Leo Petrova would be there, taking care of her daily needs, making her laugh. Anya Volkov's face slowly darkened. She forcefully dragged him out of bed. What are you doing? Let go of me. His physical discomfort left him too weak to resist, and he stumbled as she pulled him into the living room. You said you wanted a peony bouquet and red velvet cake. I bought them for you as fast as I could, and this is the attitude I get. He followed her pointing finger. On the dining table sat a large red velvet cake with candles, and next to it a bouquet of delicate peonies. So he really had spoken in his sleep. Anya Volkov thrust the peony bouquet into his hands. Here, take the peony bouquet you wanted. I didn't get you a big red velvet cake back then, so I'm making up for it now. Can you just stop fighting with me? What was the meaning of Anya Volkov's actions now? Did she hope they could go back to how they used to be? But Damon didn't need it anymore. He had a terminal illness. He was going to die soon. The peony bouquet and red velvet cake could only exist in his dreams. In reality, he didn't want them anymore, just like Damon didn't want Anya Volkov anymore. He threw the peony bouquet into the nearby trash can, walked quickly to the table, and threw the red velvet cake in there too. Anya Volkov froze for a few seconds. Then her face contorted with rage, veins bulging on her forehead. She slammed him against the wall, gritting her teeth as she asked in a low voice, Damon, do you just have to oppose me? Ignoring the pain in his back, he forced a smile and said softly, So what if I do, Anya Volkov? I am opposing you. Anya Volkov, that was just something I mumbled when I was half conscious, and you immediately went and did it, still as foolish as ever. Damon deliberately pushed her buttons, watching Anya Volkov's face darken. Anya Volkov must have lost it. She lunged at him, kissing him fiercely, biting and gnawing. She bit his lip hard enough to draw blood. Anya Volkov pushed him down onto the nearby sofa and bit his neck. Pain shot through him, making his body tremble. Damon gasped sharply. He shoved at her, cursing. Anya Volkov, get off him. Don't touch him. You disgust him. She ignored his struggles, burying her face in his shoulder and muttering, Damon, you're the most repulsive person in the world. Why can't you just not fight me for once? Do you know all these years I've been waiting for you to give in, to comfort me? When I heard you say you wanted a peony bouquet and red velvet cake earlier, I was so happy. I rushed out of my slippers. I didn't even notice the car coming down the street. I almost got killed. But then you called me stupid and threw my feelings back in my face. She lifted her head, staring intently at him, tears glistening in her eyes. Damon, how can you be so cruel to me? Are you even human? His own eyes were red-rimmed as he stared back defiantly. Neither of them spoke, neither willing to look away first. Seconds ticked by. Then Anya Volkov moved. She slowly leaned closer and closer until her lips were almost touching his. Just as Damon was about to resist, an iPhone rang. It was Anya Volkov's phone. She froze, then after a few seconds sat up and picked up the iPhone. The iPhone screen flashed briefly, but Damon still caught the caller ID. It was Leo Petrova. Anya Volkov hesitated for a moment before answering. The room was silent, so silent Damon could hear Leo Petrova crying on the other end. Ms. Volkov, did you go see Damon? I made a whole dinner tonight and kept waiting for you. But the food's all cold now, and you still haven't come back. Ms. Volkov, don't you want me anymore? Don't you like me anymore? Ms. Volkov, it's snowing outside and it's so cold, my head feels dizzy too. Damon could hear the wind howling in the background on Leo Petrova's end. Anya Volkov asked in a low voice, "You're outside?" "Yeah, I couldn't wait for you anymore and I was so sad. So I came out to a nightclub to drink. There are so many people in the nightclub. I noticed lots of women looking at me, and some even tried to hit on me, but I turned them all down. Hee hee, but I hate the way they look at me. I don't like it. I feel really scared. Ms. Volkov, I want to go home. Can you come pick me up?" Anya Volkov didn't answer Leo Petrova. Instead, she stared intently at Damon. For some reason, Damon turned his head away, avoiding her gaze. Anya Volkov gripped his chin, forcing his face back towards hers. "Damon, do you want me to leave? Just ask me to stay. If you beg me, I'll stay here with you and won't go get Leo Petrova." "Beggar," Damon scoffed, then shoved her away with all his strength, enunciating each word carefully. "Anya Volkov, I will never beg you. Forget about it. If you're going to get Leo Petrova, then get the hell out." Anya Volkov let out an angry, self-mocking laugh. Fine. Well done, Damon." Anya Volkov glared at him, her face cold, but her voice was incredibly gentle as she spoke into the phone. "Leo, send me the nightclub's location. I'll be there soon. I'm coming to take you home. Our home." She raised an eyebrow at Damon as if to say, "You might not want me, but plenty of others do." Without another glance at Damon, Anya Volkov turned and slammed the door on her way out. The loud bang as the door hit the frame echoed the ache in his heart. His body wouldn't stop shaking. He raised a hand to cover his pale face. Anya Volkov had probably forgotten how many times Damon had begged her before. He'd swallowed his pride, pleaded with her to just talk to him patiently. "Anya Volkov, can they not fight this time? Can they just talk properly? Can they try to make things work between them from now on? Okay? Don't be so harsh with Damon. Could you try being a little gentler?" But that day Anya Volkov had looked at him coldly, shoved him to the ground, and said flatly, "Damon, what right do you have to make demands of me?" Her words were etched into his mind. Even today, he could clearly remember the helplessness he felt then. That was when he told himself never to beg her again. Never. The pain made him reluctant to move, so he spent the next few days holed up at home. His meals were irregular. He skipped them when he had no appetite, and when he was hungry he just grabbed whatever was easy to fill his stomach. But he didn't eat much. Even so, he eventually ran out of groceries. To avoid starving, he had no choice but to go out and buy food. But on his way back from grocery shopping, several reporters stopped him on Maple Street. One young man was particularly agitated, pushing past the others and shoving an iPhone towards his face. "Mr. Hayes, what are your thoughts on the situation with Ms. Volkov and Leo Petrova that's trending on Twitter?" Twitter trends. Damon's days and nights were mixed up, and he'd been in a daze, completely unaware of what was happening outside, let alone any Twitter trends. Damon pulled out his iPhone and did a quick search to figure out what was going on. Apparently Leo Petrova had somehow offended some woman, and when Anya Volkov arrived, she had fiercely defended him and subsequently bankrupted the woman's company. This was the first time Anya Volkov had stood up for any man besides him. The incident immediately spread like wildfire within their social circles, and someone somehow spread it online. Anya Volkov's company had grown from nothing into an industry leader over the past few years. As its head, she was a business miracle, not to mention beautiful, so she was already famous online and well known by many. As soon as news about her broke, it instantly captured the attention of countless netizens. Discussions surged, and it ended up trending on Twitter. His face remained blank as Damon started walking towards the mansion, unwilling to answer the reporter's questions, but the young man persisted, quickly stepping in front of him again. "Mr. Hayes, you haven't answered my question." "That's very impolite." Damon lowered his gaze to look at him. His eyes flickered away uncomfortably when they met his, but he forced himself to ask again, "What are your thoughts on this matter?" Damon asked coldly. What is there for him to think about the affair between a cheating woman and her gold digger man? Hearing Damon's words, the young man suddenly grew excited, as if he'd found a scoop. "Mr. Hayes, I heard you and Anya Volkov broke up years ago." "No, actually the word is you dumped her, and it was because of money." Damon let out a cold laugh, saying nothing, just watching him see what else he'd come up with. The young man couldn't suppress a shiver, his voice trembling as he continued. "Then after Anya Volkov made it big with her startup, you use your past relationship to get back with her for her money, even resorting to shady tactics to force her into marrying you. Anya Volkov is with someone else now, which proves she's found real love. The photos show they look great together, a perfect match. But you're still clinging to your position as Anya Volkov's husband, turning Leo Petrova into a gold digger. Don't you think you've gone too far?" Damon wanted to hear what he had to say, but he never expected such outrageous accusations. He didn't even have the energy for another sneer. He reached out and grabbed the ID badge hanging from his chest. One look at it, and everything became clear. The young man was an intern reporter. The back of his press pass also showed a university student ID. It was the same university Leo Petrova attended. "You know Leo Petrova, don't you?" Panic flickered across the young man's face as he hastily snatched the press pass back from Damon's hand. "So what if I know Leo Petrova?" he retorted. "I'm a reporter. Everything I said is part of my job, with no personal agenda." "No personal agenda, huh? Who would believe that?" "Since you've heard so much," Damon countered, "haven't you heard the rumors going around in their circles?" The young man looked lost. "What rumors?" "Everyone in their circle knows Anya Volkov used every trick in the book to force Damon into marrying her back in the day. Why else do you think she hasn't divorced him? Even now that she supposedly has this true love you're talking about. You call yourself a reporter, yet you haven't even heard something everyone knows. Is that your idea of professionalism?" Damon's words made the young reporter's face flush. He opened his mouth to argue, but just stammered, unable to form a coherent sentence. Damon pressed on. "As for you accusing him of being rude earlier, he had no obligation to answer your questions. Don't try to guilt-trip him now. Please get out of his way. You're blocking him from going home." The reporters ignored Damon, demanding angrily, "Mr. Hayes, what's that supposed to mean? Aren't reporters' questions important? Are you looking down on us?" Damon hadn't expected their train of thought to be so unique. Taking a deep breath to quell his rising irritation, he opened his mouth to explain, but before he could get a word out, he heard several of them gasp. "We hardly said anything. How could you get so worked up that your nose started bleeding? Are you that fragile?" He expertly pulled out a tissue and wiped away the blood. Because of his terminal illness, he'd lost count of how many nosebleeds he'd had over the last few days. The motions to stop it had become second nature. Damon met their somewhat panicked gazes, his voice steady. "I'm not angry with you, certainly not worked up enough for this. I just have a terminal illness. I'm dying. My body's failing, hence the nosebleed." The reporters were stunned, staring blankly at Damon. He took the opportunity to slip away. As Damon shut his front door, he heard the young intern's voice. "Terminal illness? I don't believe for a second he's terminally ill. He's just exploiting our sympathy to make a getaway. If you're really dying, then just hurry up and die already. Making such a big deal over a little nosebleed. Pathetic. What an embarrassment to men." Damon gave a faint chuckle and closed the door, shutting out the voices. Since he was dying anyway, there was no point in arguing with them. The outcome would eventually reveal the truth. He never expected the video of his interview with those reporters would hit Twitter trends after it was posted. Tons of commenters were tearing into Damon. "This guy's so full of it. He's got a wife like Ms. Volkov, gorgeous and rich, and claims he was forced, like she needed to marry him exactly. A woman like Ms. Volkov could have any man she wants. If I were married to Ms. Volkov, I'd be stuck to her side slash, not acting like this pathetic jerk. He's disgusting. Wait, so he's implying Ms. Volkov is madly in love with him? Yeah, he's that shameless. His twisted logic is hilarious. I'd sooner believe the reporter that he dumped Anya Volkov for money and then used dirty tricks to marry her than believe she actually loves him. Dude looks terrible, though. Maybe he really is dying. Who cares if he dies? Says he didn't want it, but he went through with the marriage. Maybe he secretly wanted it all along and just put on a show. It was then that Anya Volkov posted a message. She wrote, "Leave Damon alone. I will never divorce him." Anya Volkov's post slowed the flood of comments somewhat, but it didn't change much. People still despise Damon. Just did some digging. Looks like the reporters who interviewed Damon are gone from their news outlet's official website. Think they got fired? Almost certainly. Bet Ms. Volkov pulled some strings. Gotta admit she's powerful, but why would she defend Damon? Don't tell me she actually loves him. Maybe her husband has some dirt on Ms. Volkov. Amidst the swirl of suspicion, a dissenting voice suddenly popped up. None of you understand anything. You don't know the first thing about it. Why are you all just wildly speculating? Oh yeah, you know something we don't? Whoa, someone actually knows the inside story. Spill it. Spill it. What's the truth? But after posting that one message, the person vanished, so people stopped wondering about the truth and went back to their previous arguments. But Damon found himself staring dazedly at that particular message, unable to look away. The real reason Damon left Anya Volkov back then. It's actually pretty damn cliche. Damon's life used to be completely ordinary. He studied hard for years, got into a good university, even had a girlfriend who loved him. He was just looking forward to graduating, getting a job, making money, and settling into a comfortable life. Just when Damon thought his quiet, happy life would go on forever, devastating news arrived. His mother, who had always been the picture of health, suddenly collapsed and was rushed to City General Hospital. When Damon rushed over in a panic, his mother was lying in the VIP ward, her face pale. The doctor said she had a terminal illness, something incredibly rare in medical history with no known cure, and it was hereditary. Not only was there a high chance he would develop it later, but any children he might have would also risk inheriting it. His mom's illness came on aggressively. The woman who used to be so full of life became gaunt with pain in just a few days. Her nose wouldn't stop bleeding, and she even fainted from blood loss. Damon rushed around taking care of his mother, and in quiet moments Damon just stared at her, lost in thought. He'd never imagined he could lose his mother so suddenly. When Mom woke up from fainting, she still managed to force a smile to comfort Damon. "Damon, don't be sad. Mom's just going to another world to watch over you. Don't be silly. Everyone dies eventually. I'm just leaving a bit early, that's all." Damon's mother suddenly sighed softly, her tone growing heavy. "Damon, I'm not afraid of dying, but I'm terrified you'll inherit my illness. Mom wants you to live a long life. And if you got sick too, what would Anya Volkov do?" Hearing Mom mention Anya Volkov startled Damon. "Anya's a good kid. You two care about each other a lot. Started dating back in high school, didn't you? You thought you were hiding your puppy love because you were afraid I'd find out, but you're my son, and it was so obvious. How could I not notice the change in you back then? You'd get that silly grin on your face sometimes, barely touch your breakfast before rushing off eagerly to school. I worried. So I'd secretly watch from the window, and sure enough I'd see that Anya girl waiting for you on Maple Street with her bicycle. But that poor girl has had a hard life. When her parents divorced, neither of them wanted her. Even with parents alive, she lived like an orphan, getting just a tiny bit of money for living expenses each month, but she never hesitated to spend it on you." Damon sniffled, trying hard to push back the stinging feeling in his nose. Anya Volkov was truly good to Damon. Anything other kids had she'd try her best to get for him. Mom sighed deeply. "More than once I felt so happy that such a wonderful girl liked you. Watching you two go from high school through college, your bond still so strong. It put my heart at ease. She's smart, works hard, she's ambitious. To not go astray in such difficult circumstances is incredibly rare. It shows she has extraordinary strength of character. But being that good, it just shows how much hardship she's endured." As Mom said this, tears streamed down her face. "It's my fault, all my fault. If I hadn't gotten sick, especially with something hereditary like this, you too could be so happy. I'd rather drop dead right now than have you inherit this disease." Damon cried out, "Mom, don't say things like that. You'll get better. The doctors will find a cure. They'll save you. You'll live." Damon held on to that hope deep inside. But in the end, it was just hope. The doctors never found a cure. Mom eventually died. Anya Volkov had been raised by her grandmother, but her grandma got sick and was hospitalized around that same time. Because the Mayo Clinic costs money, she was completely overwhelmed, constantly working multiple part-time jobs to scrape the funds together, so she didn't notice anything was wrong with Damon. Damon couldn't bear to burden her, so Damon didn't tell her about his mom and the terminal illness. Damon planned to tell her after Grandma Volkov got better, but Damon never expected that even after treatment at the Mayo Clinic, her grandmother's condition didn't improve. It continued to worsen, and not long after she passed away. Anya Volkov hugged Damon, burying her face in his neck, and said, "Damon, you're all I have left." The words Damon was about to say caught in his throat, and Damon swallowed them back down. Anya Volkov always acted strong, but Damon knew that deep down she was fragile too. She only had Damon left, and didn't Damon only have her? Damon knew how much she loved him. She had just lost her beloved grandmother. If she found out she might lose him too later, when Damon eventually died, she definitely wouldn't be able to go on living. More than once Damon cried silently in the dead of night, hating how unfair fate was, unable to understand why they had to suffer so much. Life had already been so hard for them. Why did it have to treat them like this? Without realizing it, 7 years have passed since all that happened, but thinking about it now still leaves an ache in his heart. Damon always knew he could die at any moment, and now that time is truly here. Damon should go visit his mom at the memorial park. Tell her this is the last time he'll see her there. He'll be joining her soon. He hopes when she sees him in heaven she recognizes him right away, otherwise he'll be pretty upset. Damon bought the organic fruit basket Mom loved most. But before Damon goes, there's something else Damon needs to bring. So Damon headed to the Volkov Group building to get something from Anya Volkov. Damon's mom adored Anya Volkov, treated her completely like her own daughter. This was back before Mom was diagnosed, when Anya Volkov and Damon were happy together. They were seniors at Stanford then, already planning to get married after graduation. Mom went with an old friend to pray in a chapel and got 2 crucifix pendants blessed. Each crucifix pendant had one of their birth dates engraved on it, his on one, Anya Volkov's on the other. She hoped the crucifix pendants would bless them with peace, safety, lifelong love, and eternal happiness together. Mom told him to give Anya Volkov the one with her birth date, but she didn't want her own. She insisted, almost pestering him, that she wanted to wear the one with Damon's birth date. Anya Volkov looked at him, smiling softly, and said, "Damon, let me keep your crucifix pendant. I'll treasure it, just like I love and treasure you. I'll protect you and won't let anyone hurt you." She also said, "When I see the crucifix pendant, I'll think of you. It'll be like seeing you myself. That makes me incredibly happy, Damon. I love seeing you, it makes my whole day." Hearing her words made Damon feel overjoyed, as sweet as cotton candy, and Damon happily swapped crucifix pendants with her. But now Anya Volkov doesn't wear the crucifix pendant anymore. She just leaves it lying around carelessly in her office. Damon's afraid that after he dies, she'll just throw the crucifix pendant away like trash. It was a gift from his mother. Damon doesn't want that to be its fate. Damon has to get the crucifix pendant back. He wants to wear it when he goes to heaven to see Mom. While Damon got to the office, Anya Volkov was staring intently at her iPhone, brow furrowed, so focused she didn't notice him come in. Her iPhone was playing the video of Damon being interviewed by those reporters. In the video, Damon had a nosebleed and was saying he had a terminal illness, that he was dying soon. She saw the shadow fall across her iPhone screen and finally realized someone was there. Seeing it was Damon, she calmly turned off the screen and just looked at him without a word, not asking anything about the video. Damon didn't care. He got straight to the point. Given the crucifix pendant his mom got for him. Lost it. Damon's brow furrowed. He couldn't believe it. Lost it. Anya Volkov, you actually lost the crucifix pendant his mom got for him. Damon's eyes reddened with anger as Damon stared furiously at Anya Volkov. Leo Petrova rushed in from outside the office, stepping in front of Anya Volkov. "Damon, calm down. Let's talk about this calmly. Don't get worked up. Damon nodded, took a deep breath, clenched his fists, trying to calm himself, and then said, his crucifix pendant. He wants his crucifix pendant. Crucifix pendant? Leo Petrova paused, acting like he just realized. You mean the kind you get blessed at chapel? Oh, so that was yours. I saw it and really liked it, so I pestered Ms. Volkov until she gave it to me. She said the crucifix pendant brings peace and would protect me. It's quite a coincidence, actually. It even had my birth date on it. Ms. Volkov said it was fate. What do you think, Damon? Damon saw the fleeting smirk in Leo Petrova's eyes, and his anger instantly boiled over. Damon didn't believe for a second Leo Petrova didn't know Damon's birthday or couldn't guess the crucifix pendant was Damon's. If that was the case, then Leo Petrova playing gold digger and tricking Anya Volkov away the other day was actually a deliberate provocation aimed at Damon. Fueled by rage, strength surged through Damon. He reached out, shoved Leo Petrova aside, grabbed a folder from the desk, and threw it hard at Anya Volkov. The crucifix pendant his mom got for him. Why did you have to give it to someone else? The folder hit Anya Volkov in the face, leaving a scratch. She nonchalantly wiped away the blood with her hand, looked at Damon, and said with a smile, Sorry, I forgot the crucifix pendant was yours. I thought it was just some useless trinket, so when Leo wanted it, I gave it to him. Damon trembled all over, staring hard at Anya Volkov. Anya Volkov kept looking at Damon with that smile, which even seemed to grow wider. Damon lunged at her, hitting her like a madman. Anya Volkov didn't react, just watched Damon with a detached expression. Leo Petrova snapped back to reality, pushed Damon away forcefully, and yelled angrily. It's just a stupid crucifix pendant. Why are you hitting people, Damon Hayes? Are you crazy? He yanked the crucifix pendant off his wrist and threw it straight onto the floor. He yelled at Damon, You think I actually wanted your junk? It's not like it's anything special. I wouldn't normally even look twice at something like that. Grab your stuff and get out. Stop bothering Ms. Volkov. This is an office, not a place for you to throw a tantrum. Leo Petrova kept shouting, but Damon couldn't hear a word. Damon stared blankly at the scattered pieces of the crucifix pendant at his feet. The crucifix pendant had shattered when it hit the floor, beads scattering everywhere. The bead engraved with Damon's birth date was broken into pieces, damaged so badly the inscription was illegible. Damon's head was ringing and tears fell unconsciously. The crucifix pendant meant to protect him was broken, just like his life was about to end. Damon's eyes filled with hatred as he looked at Leo Petrova's face, raising his hand to slap him, but the slap never landed. Anya Volkov caught his hand midair. She stared at him coldly, her voice laced with warning. Damon Hayes, that's enough. Stop this nonsense. Nonsense? You call this nonsense? Damon looked at Anya Volkov in disbelief, finally lowering his gaze in disappointment. She once said she would cherish the crucifix pendant, that she would protect him, but now she'd casually given it away, completely indifferent that the thing meant to keep him safe was destroyed. Damon had already realized Anya Volkov didn't care about him anymore. Why did it still hurt? An itch started in his nose, and the familiar liquid trickled down, staining his clothes red. His nose was bleeding again. This time felt worse than before, so bad Damon didn't even want to wipe it away. Anya Volkov rushed to hold him, asking frantically, What's wrong? Why is your nose bleeding again? Damon smiled purely, his voice soft. He told you he's dying. Anya Volkov grabbed tissues to wipe away the blood. She didn't believe him, retorting, Damon Hayes, what nonsense are you talking about? You were perfectly fine just a while ago. How could you be dying? You're saying you're dying because you want to see me get flustered over you, right? Fine, you succeeded. I do still care about you. As Anya Volkov watched Damon's face grow paler and the nosebleed refused to stop, her expression turned grim, her eyes filling with panic. Her voice trembled. I admitted it, Damon Hayes. Stop pretending. Stop bleeding. Please stop. Damon was completely drained of strength, unable even to stand, and collapsed to the floor. Anya Volkov's words seemed almost funny, as if Damon had the power to control a nosebleed like this. Belatedly, Anya Volkov realized Damon's situation wasn't as optimistic as she'd thought. She turned and yelled at Leo Petrova. Ambulance. Call an ambulance quickly. Urged on by Anya Volkov, Leo Petrova fumbled to make the call. Anya Volkov kept trying to wipe Damon's nose, but she ran out of tissues and the blood kept flowing, more and more, staining her clothes. Losing blood, Damon's consciousness started to fade. Just before passing out, Damon saw Anya Volkov's face, lost and helpless, like a child's, hot tears falling one by one. She kept murmuring, "Why? Why is this happening? Why won't the blood wipe away? Why won't it stop? Damon Hayes, get better. Please don't scare me like this. I'm scared." When Damon regained consciousness, Damon smelled the sharp scent of disinfectant. Damon figured he must be in City General Hospital. A doctor was saying he's lost the will to live himself, and the stress aggravated his symptoms. If he'd managed it with medication, he could have lived until next spring at least. But he said he had no dollar, wouldn't buy the meds. His condition is uncontrollable now. Even medication won't help at this point. There's no need for further treatment. Anya Volkov's voice cut in, "Liar. How can my husband be dying? He was perfectly fine just a few days ago. How could he suddenly have a terminal illness?" Her voice shot up, sharp and piercing, as she confronted the doctor. "I don't care what you have to do. You have to find a way to treat my husband. If you can't, you're fired. Get out of here right now." Anya Volkov sought out countless top doctors across the country, telling them she'd pay any price if they could just cure her husband. In just a few short days, she turned the medical community upside down. But money can't cure every illness, and Damon's was a terminal condition doctors hadn't found a treatment for in years. Anya Volkov refused to believe it, simply tuning out anything the doctors said. She was convinced there had to be a cure for her husband somewhere in the world. If they couldn't cure him here, she decided she would take him abroad. She had fired several doctors in the preceding days, so now no one dared to stop her frantic efforts, until Damon's childhood friend showed up. Lyra Davies slapped Anya Volkov across the face, forcing her to pause. "Ms. Volkov, you have money, sure, but where were you before now? You decide you want to save him? It's too late. Damon can't hold on anymore." Anya Volkov turned her head away from the sting of the slap. After a moment of silence, her voice choked with tears. "How can he not hold on? Let me take him abroad, please. We can definitely find a cure for my husband. He can definitely survive. Lyra Davies, I'm begging you. Please just give Damon to me." Lyra Davies scoffed. "Impossible. I'll stand right here and stop you. There's no way I'm letting you take him away. And Damon doesn't want to leave either." Lyra continued. "He called me. He said if he ever got so sick he was just stuck lying in bed, not to bother dragging him through the Mayo Clinic again. He wanted to go quickly. He didn't want to live in pain." Lyra Davies knew how terrified Damon was of pain, so even though her heart ached hearing those words, she could only agree through her tears. After Lyra played the recording of Damon's call with her, Anya Volkov swayed, so pale she could barely stand. "How? How could this happen? How could my husband die? If he dies, what will I do? How could he leave me all alone in this world?" Lyra Davies watched her expressionless and said coolly, "How are you alone? You still have all those gold diggers hanging around. Does Damon leaving really affect you? Stop acting like you're so devoted to Damon. It just makes people sick. It doesn't make you look devoted." Someone sat down beside Damon's bed in the VIP ward and took Damon's hand. Lyra Davies' voice followed. "Damon, do you really not want to live? Don't you want to wake up? You haven't said goodbye to me yet. You haven't said goodbye to Aunt Hayes." Damon knew he might die suddenly from this terminal illness, so Damon decided to say a proper goodbye to the world before he left. But Damon hadn't said goodbye yet. Damon couldn't die, at least not now. Tears slipped from the corners of Damon's eyes. Beside Damon, the life monitor started beeping insistently. Doctors rushed in immediately, exclaiming it was a miracle that Damon was showing signs of waking up. They quickly told Lyra Davies to keep talking to Damon. Lyra Davies agreed excitedly. She sat by Damon's side in the VIP ward continuously after that, holding Damon's hand and talking until her voice grew hoarse. She recounted funny stories from their past, sometimes loud and animated, sometimes quiet and downcast, her emotions swinging wildly. Hearing Lyra Davies' efforts to wake him, Damon didn't want to disappoint her. Damon stopped giving in, started fighting against his body, trying to pull himself out of the hazy fog in his mind. Damon wanted to comfort her, to tell her not to be sad. Thankfully, Damon finally woke up. For the week after Damon woke up, Lyra Davies stayed by his side constantly, taking care of him. If it weren't improper, she probably would have insisted on watching over him even when Damon used the bathroom. Damon found himself hoping he could get better soon, just so Lyra Davies wouldn't be so tense. Her anxiety was becoming extreme. A few times when Damon was lightly asleep, Damon clearly felt her place her hand under his nose to check if he was still breathing. It was lunchtime and Lyra Davies had to go get her food, but even then she couldn't help looking back several times before leaving the room. Suddenly Damon needed to use the restroom. Lyra Davies usually helped him to the door, but since she wasn't there, Damon wanted to try getting there on his own. His body swayed precariously, but Damon managed to shuffle his way to the restroom. Thankfully, everything went smoothly inside. Damon breathed a sigh of relief, but Damon celebrated too soon. Just as Damon stood up and took a single step, everything suddenly went dark. Damon lost consciousness for a few seconds, lost control of his body, and fell straight to the floor. Sharp pain shot through his face, and his nose started bleeding again. Gritting his teeth against the pain, Damon struggled to get up. As Damon pushed himself up, his eyes fell on the mirror. The reflection showed his face completely covered in blood, his features blurred and almost unrecognizable. It was terrifying. Damon was so shocked he couldn't even cry out. Damon just stared wide-eyed at the horrifying image in the mirror. Just then, Anya Volkov rushed into the restroom. She immediately grabbed Damon, turning him away from the mirror, then wrapped her arms around Damon, her touch full of pain and concern. It's okay, don't be scared, you're all right. She held him back to the bed and sat him down. Her eyes were red-rimmed as she gently wiped Damon's face with a damp towel, her expression anguished. Seeing the glaring red blood soaking the towel, tears streamed down her face, and her body trembled uncontrollably. I was only gone for a quick meeting, she said, her voice shaking. How did you fall? Then her tone sharpened. And where did that Lyra Davies go? Why wasn't she here taking care of you? Doesn't she know how weak you are? Damon frowned, looking at Anya Volkov coldly. Lyra Davies went to get food. Besides, Damon continued, his voice firm, she has her own life, her parents, friends, job, they're all abroad. Unlike Damon, who has nothing all day and is just a burden on her with this illness, she's under no obligation to take care of him. Damon held her gaze. If you say one more bad thing about her in front of him, then you can leave right now. He doesn't want to see you. Afraid Damon would actually kick her out, Anya Volkov opened her mouth as if to say something more, but ultimately swallowed her words. When she saw that the bleeding had stopped, her tense expression finally relaxed slightly. She wiped away her tears, composed herself, and then demanded, Damon, don't you have a mouth? Why didn't you tell me you were sick? No, wait, you do have a mouth. You told Lyra Davies you were sick. Why would you tell her instead of me? Do you really think she's more important than I am? Don't forget, I'm your legal wife. We're supposed to be the closest people to each other. Damon's expression didn't change as he calmly watched the furious Anya Volkov. So what if the law says so? He just didn't want to tell you. He doesn't need your concern, and he doesn't need you taking care of him during the last moments of his life. So whether you knew Damon was sick or not is irrelevant, because he doesn't care. That's what Damon said, but Damon knew perfectly well he hadn't deliberately hidden it from Anya Volkov. After all, Damon's medical chart had been sitting right there on the table at home, but she'd never seen it because while Damon was sick, getting weaker day by day, curled up on the floor, writhing in pain, biting his lip until it bled, feeling like he could die any second, she was off having fun with Leo Petrova. Leo Petrova was younger and better looking than Damon, with a personality she found more appealing. She was happy living with Leo Petrova, never even thinking about coming home. The one time she did come back for Damon's birthday gala, she was too preoccupied with being angry to notice the medical chart. Thinking of this, Damon's gaze towards her turned even colder, cutting straight to her heart. Damon said, Anya Volkov, he doesn't need you at all. Tears streamed down Anya Volkov's face, one after another. Her eyes red. She looked at Damon and accused, Damon, you're so heartless, just like back then. You decided you didn't want me anymore and left without even saying a word. Suddenly Anya Volkov came closer and threw her arms around Damon. Her voice, thick with tears, was full of attachment. Damon, you don't want me, but I want you. I can't lose you. For a moment Damon's mind drifted. Anya Volkov still didn't know why Damon had disappeared so suddenly all those years ago. After his mother died, Damon's mental state was terrible. Damon'd often wake up startled in the middle of the night. Damon kept dreaming that Anya Volkov and Damon had a child, but tragically Damon developed a terminal illness, and the child inherited it too. Anya Volkov bankrupted herself trying to save them, but even so the child and Damon still died. Unable to handle the shock, Anya Volkov killed herself by slitting her wrists. Damon didn't want Anya Volkov to die. Damon didn't want the future to be as tragic as his dreams. She was a good, ambitious girl with a bright future ahead of her. She deserved a healthy family and a happy life. More than once Damon hated that Damon couldn't spend his whole life with her. Damon felt jealous thinking about the other men who would eventually be by her side. But Damon also knew Damon couldn't drag her down. Damon shouldn't drag her down. So back then Damon left without a second thought. It was only 2 months after leaving that Damon's mood gradually improved, and Damon realized leaving so abruptly, without a word, was wrong. So Damon went back. Damon planned to explain everything clearly to Anya Volkov. Tell her why Damon left so suddenly. Tell her about his hereditary illness, that Damon might die unexpectedly in the future. All the way back to the place Anya Volkov and Damon had lived, Damon kept picturing the moment Damon see her and tell her these things. But Damon never expected that before Damon even reached their home, Damon would see her from a distance holding someone and kissing them. Damon refused to believe it was her. Damon told himself it was probably just someone who looked like Anya Volkov, maybe even resembled her quite a bit. If Damon got closer, just a little closer, Damon could surely spot the differences in their features. Damon's legs felt like lead as Damon walked step by heavy step. Damon got close enough to see how intensely the woman and man were kissing, close enough to see features identical to Anya Volkov's. Even then Damon instinctively tried to make excuses for her. Maybe Anya Volkov had a sister? Identical twins look alike, right? Damon tried to console himself with that thought. But when Damon saw her expertly unlock the door to their home and lead the man inside, the conviction in his heart completely crumbled. Damon doesn't know how Damon left that day. All Damon knows is that when Damon became aware again, Damon was already back in a small mountain village in that remote city. The image of Anya Volkov kissing someone else playing over and over in Damon's mind. Damon lay in bed for 2 days and 2 nights, slowly processing it. No, processing isn't the right word. It's more accurate to say Damon successfully hypnotized himself. Damon kept telling himself, this is the best possible outcome. Anya Volkov wasn't heartbroken because Damon left. She'd even found another man she liked. She would be happy in the future. She would definitely be happy. Everything was going the way Damon envisioned. But Damon's heart ached terribly. Damon was completely listless for those few years, often crying unconsciously in his sleep. Damon learned from financial news that Anya Volkov had founded the Volkov Group, turning it into a major company in just a few years. Damon also knew she had remained single all these years, though she was never short of male companions. Damon knew many, many things, but none of it concerned Damon anymore, because she was too wealthy, so wealthy that Damon felt they lived in different worlds. But as time passed, Damon stopped paying attention to Anya Volkov. Damon slowly moved on from his feelings and started living an ordinary, simple life, going to work, exploring his interest in food, seeing the sights of the world. Just when Damon thought things could continue like this, that Damon could quietly wait for death to arrive, Anya Volkov suddenly reappeared. She arranged for bodyguards to take him away, forcefully dragging him off to marry her. At the same time, she continued her relationships with her lovers, even flaunting them in front of him. Damon asked her why she was doing this. She leaned against him, smiled, and said, "I just want revenge. Did you really think I'd still love you after all these years? I have plenty of gold diggers, you know. You'd better behave, or I might get angry." Damon took a deep breath, trying hard to stay calm. He doesn't want to marry you. There was a reason he left suddenly back then. His mom. Damon wanted to tell her the reason Damon hadn't explained years ago, but Damon had barely started before she slapped him across the face. "Don't you dare mention your mother to me. You're both the same, obsessed with money. Neither of you is any good." "Damon, let me tell you, when I say we're getting married, I'm not discussing it with you. I'm informing you. It doesn't matter if you don't want to. Anya Volkov was incredibly stubborn, so stubborn she refused to listen to a single word of explanation. She said, "Are you really that unwilling to marry me? But if you're not willing, that just makes me want you on the same marriage certificate even more. You hurt me so badly back then, so now I have to hurt you even more. That's only fair, isn't it?" Damon stared hard at Anya Volkov, suddenly feeling like she was a stranger. She wasn't the Anya Volkov Damon knew anymore. He'd rather die than marry Anya Volkov. Damon never imagined she could become so despicable. "I remember you used to have a childhood friend named Lyra Davies, right?" Damon tensed instantly. "Were you planning?" Anya Volkov kissed his lips, almost indulgently. "Look how tense you are. What could I possibly do?" She paused. "Except with the power and money I have now, one little order and her family's small business might not make it. Could you really stand by and watch her family go bankrupt?" Damon was shaking with anger. Lyra Davies' family had struggled with poverty for a long time. They'd finally managed to start a company, and things were just starting to look up. Damon couldn't let all their hard work be ruined because of him. Besides, Damon didn't have long to live anyway. It didn't matter how he spent the rest of his days. So Damon married Anya Volkov. He just never expected her revenge would last such a short time. Only 3 months later, Damon was diagnosed with a terminal illness. The marks on Damon's face were obvious. There was no hiding them from Lyra Davies. When she found out Damon hadn't waited for her and had acted on his own, she was furious and gave him the cold shoulder for days. "If Damon's mom were here, you wouldn't treat him like this." Damon felt hurt. He misses his mom. "Can you take him to see her?" Lyra Davies went quiet for a moment before replying. "Of course, as soon as you're better, I'll take you to see Aunt Hayes." Damon knew his body was wrecked. How could he possibly recover? But Damon wanted to see his mom, and Damon didn't want Lyra to worry, so Damon agreed. Okay. Every day after that, Damon tried to stay optimistic. Damon followed the doctor's treatment, swallowing handfuls of pills, getting all sorts of injections. The backs of Damon's hands were constantly bruised purple and blue, but Damon never complained about the pain. Seeing this, though, Lyra's eyes would turn red. "Damon, don't just push through it," she'd say. "If it hurts, tell me." Damon would shake his head, his face pale. "It's okay, it doesn't hurt. Don't worry, I'll do my best to get better." All Damon's efforts seemed to be paying off. Damon's body actually started to get slightly better. Not like a healthy person, of course, but before Damon needed help just to walk, and now Damon could manage on his own. Damon looked at Lyra Davies hopefully. "Can you take him to see his mom now?" "Yes." Lyra turned her head, trying to hide the tears in her eyes, but she couldn't hide the catch in her voice that instantly betrayed her. The scattered beads from the crucifix pendant were still at Volkov Group, but Damon didn't want to retrieve them anymore. There was no point. Damon thought it over these past few days. That necklace felt like his destiny. Given Damon's terminal diagnosis, it seemed almost fated to break, nothing to make a fuss about. Just when they were ready to leave, though, Anya Volkov showed up to stop Damon. "You're too weak right now. You're not going anywhere. Stay here at City General Hospital and rest." Damon insisted. "He wants to go." "No." Anya refused flatly. Then she immediately called her bodyguards and told them to stand guard at Damon's door and not let Damon leave. Lyra got furious and started arguing with Anya. "Damon just wants to see his mom. Why won't you let him go? What harm could one visit possibly do? Are you hoping all this stress will kill him faster so you can marry that gold digger you've been seeing without any guilt?" Anya Volkov glared coldly at Lyra. "My husband isn't going to die. He'll live a long life. As for visiting his aunt, there'll be plenty of time for that later. Besides, Damon's the one in the hospital. Why isn't she coming to City General Hospital to see him?" Lyra looked at Damon surprised. "His mom is already." Before Damon could finish, Anya suddenly clutched her stomach, her face pale. "My stomach," she gasped weakly. "It hurts so much." The bodyguards outside immediately helped her go find a doctor. Damon stared blankly in the direction Anya had gone. Lyra sighed. "Don't worry about her. Anya's always got so much energy. She'll be fine." Damon thought so too. "Yeah." Lyra looked at Damon. "Why haven't you told her why you left all those years ago?" Damon shrugged helplessly. "It's like just now. Every time he tries, something interrupts them." Damon assumed the bodyguards would leave now that Anya was gone, but they remained stationed at the door. "Sorry, Mr. Hayes," one said. Ms. Volkov's orders were only to prevent Mr. Hayes from leaving. The faint smile Damon had managed vanished, and the fragile good mood Damon had held onto for days evaporated. Damon retreated back into silence. Just like before, Damon started sleeping more and more, at least hours a day. When Damon was awake, Damon just stared blankly out the window. Damon's body was getting weaker. Maybe it was time to say goodbye to Lyra. Damon started keeping Lyra by his side each day, rambling on and on. She listened patiently, though eventually she couldn't hold back her tears and would start crying. She knew Damon was saying goodbye, but she refused to believe Damon was really dying. Damon, don't be like this, she'd pleaded. You still have so much time left. Strangely, Damon's energy actually seemed to improve over the next few days. The test results, however, were still grim. A final burst of energy before the end, Damon thought. Anya hadn't visited, which made things feel quiet, almost peaceful. But then unexpectedly Leo Petrova showed up. Tears streamed down his face as he knelt by Damon's bedside. Mr. Hayes, he sobbed. Please let Anya go. She's pregnant with my child. She's the mother of my baby. Stop using the fact that you're dying to keep clinging to her. Damon froze. The image of Anya clutching her stomach that day flashed through Damon's mind. So she was pregnant. All this time Damon's been sick, she's been out enjoying herself. She said she needed Damon, but her actions told a different story. Thank God Damon hadn't softened and believed her. Lost in thought, Damon didn't notice Leo Petrova reach out. He grabbed Damon's arm. Suddenly caught off guard and already weak, Damon was half dragged out of the bed. Blood rushed to Damon's head, and his nose started bleeding. Lyra Davies walked into the VIP ward just in time to see this. She rushed over, helped Damon up, and took out a tissue to wipe Damon's nose. Damon waved her off, signaling he could wipe it himself. Lyra Davies turned to Leo Petrova and shoved him to the ground. Who gave you permission to hurt Damon? Get out. Get out right now. She looked at the bodyguards by the door. Please escort him out. The bodyguards looked at each other, hesitant. After all, they'd worked for Anya Volkov for years and inevitably knew Leo Petrova was Ms. Volkov's latest favorite lover. They didn't dare to make a move. Sorry, miss. Ms. Volkov's orders were only to prevent Mr. Hayes from leaving. A smug smile spread across Leo Petrova's face. Then he saw Anya Volkov and quickly composed himself, putting on a pitiful expression. Ms. Volkov, I just wanted to see Damon, but they didn't welcome me. They just pushed me to the ground. Anya Volkov's dark eyes fixed on Damon. Lyra Davies stepped in front of Damon. I pushed him. So what if I did? He deserved it. If it weren't for him. Leo Petrova suddenly cried out. Ms. Volkov, my ankle hurts so much. I think I twisted it when they pushed me down. Could you take me to see a doctor? Anya Volkov stared at Leo Petrova, but didn't agree immediately. Instead, she instructed the bodyguards outside. You take him. Leo Petrova's eyes widened in disbelief. They pushed me down so suddenly. I must be seriously hurt. Ms. Volkov, you have no idea how much force they used. Enough. I couldn't listen anymore. You say they pushed you, but why don't you mention how you almost dragged him off the bed first? And are you sure you came here to show concern for him? Leo Petrova stammered. What did I drag you? I clearly came to see how you were, and before I could even say much, you pushed me without any reason. Damon nodded. Since you're so sure, let's check the security footage and see if it matches your story. Security footage? Lyra Davies came over with a laptop. Yes. Isn't surveillance standard in a VIP ward? Weren't you aware, Mr. Petrova? Leo Petrova's face went pale. Of course he didn't know. If he had, he wouldn't have been so brazen with the cameras rolling. Ms. Volkov, my foot really hurts. Let's just go. Anya Volkov didn't budge, her gaze fixed on a laptop screen. As the footage played, her face turned livid. She raised her hand and slapped Leo Petrova hard across the face. Who gave you the nerve to frame my husband? Leo Petrova, you're nothing but a plaything I use when I'm bored. Did you actually start thinking you were important? And when did I ever tell you the baby I'm carrying is yours? Leo Petrova stared blankly at Anya Volkov, but Anya Volkov turned to Damon. Husband, she said, I always use protection when I'm with other men. The baby I'm carrying, it's actually yours. Damon remembered that night. It was 2 nights before Damon was diagnosed with a terminal illness. Damon was upset about being forced to marry Anya Volkov, so Damon couldn't help but have a few drinks. Damon never expected Anya Volkov to come back suddenly for some files. After getting the files, she didn't leave. While Damon was dizzy and couldn't tell reality from dream, she forced herself on him. Damon looked at Anya Volkov with complicated feelings. Damon couldn't believe that just at one time she'd gotten pregnant. We can't keep this baby. The smile froze on Anya Volkov's face. Husband, what do you mean? This is their child. Why can't they keep it? Are you worried about your health? Don't be afraid. I've already got people looking for the best doctors. We'll definitely cure you. Damon's gaze was heavy as Damon stared at Anya Volkov. After a long pause, Damon said, My illness is hereditary. What did you say? Anya Volkov tilted her head, looking at him blankly. You've always hated him for leaving so suddenly back then, right? Don't you want to know why he left? It's because his mom died from this illness. Damon was afraid the same would happen to him and to any future child. That's why Damon didn't want to burden you. Anya Volkov shook her head repeatedly. No, how could that be? How could Damon's mother be dead? How could it be hereditary? This is completely different from what I thought. Completely different. Her eyes looked dazed as she stumbled out of the VIP ward. Leo Petrova scrambled up from the floor and chased after Anya Volkov. The noisy VIP ward suddenly fell silent and empty. Lyra Davies looked at Damon, her eyes full of sympathy. Damon. But Damon felt a surge of energy through his whole body. Let's go. Go where? Besides, Anya Volkov had people blocking you from leaving. Damon chuckled softly. They left with Anya Volkov. There were no longer any bodyguards at the VIP ward entrance. Damon wanted to visit his mother, but before going, Damon needed to buy some of her favorite snacks to bring. While Damon was buying the food, Lyra Davies bought a lot for him too. Hurry and try some. These are delicious. Damon hesitated. After all, Lyra Davies hated it when people ate in her car. It was like Lyra Davies could read Damon's mind. I'm giving you special permission. You're allowed to eat in my car from now on. Always. As she spoke, her eyes reddened. A shadow passed through Damon's eyes, but a smile quickly returned to his lips. He remembered you said that if you don't want him next time, he'll be angry, okay? Lyra Davies bought Damon lots of snacks. Damon ate until he was stuffed, but thinking Damon might never get the chance to eat them again, Damon couldn't bring himself to stop. But why did the cotton candy taste salty? Shouldn't it be sweet? Oh, right. Damon started crying without realizing it. Tears are salty. Damon didn't stop eating until they reached Memorial Park. Damon looked at the loving photo of his mother smiling and gradually zoned out. Mom, this might be the last time I come see you here. Don't say I'm unfilial. I won't be coming back because I'll be joining you soon. I wonder if you can still cook where you are. I miss your cooking so much. All these years. Damon leaned against his mother's gravestone, murmuring on and on. Lyra Davies stood nearby, keeping Damon company, but her tears never stopped flowing. Damon smiled and teased her. You still cry as much as you did when we were kids. Lyra Davies didn't argue. She fumbled in her bag and pulled out a tissue for Damon. Damon's nose was bleeding again. This might really be it for Damon. Don't be sad. I'm just going on ahead. The money you've given me over the years, plus what I've earned from work, it's all tied to the Amex Platinum card. I've set up a living trust, and everything goes to you. I also signed up to be an organ donor. I hope I can help someone else who needs it. Goodbye, Lyra Davies. Damon slowly closed his eyes. Goodbye, beautiful world. Damon could hear Lyra Davies sobbing uncontrollably. Damon wanted to tell her not to cry, but Damon lost consciousness, unable to comfort her. Lyra Davies inherited the money, but didn't use it. Instead, she donated double the amount from her own account. She hoped this act of charity would bring Damon good fortune, praying he wouldn't suffer in the next life as he had in this one. Anya Volkov hadn't expected that running off for 2 days to cool down, unable to face the truth, would lead to this. She realized how foolish she'd been all these years. She wanted to beg for Damon's forgiveness, only to return and find out he was dead. Because of the donor agreement he'd signed, his body had already been taken by City General Hospital. She didn't even get to see him one last time. Damon was so cruel, not even leaving her ashes. Anya Volkov spent the following days in a daze. She couldn't distinguish dreams from reality, often believing Damon was still alive. One day at a birthday gala with friends, she viciously attacked a woman who was cheating on her husband. As she hit her, she screamed, "You have a husband, yet you're still fooling around. You're scum. You have no morals." Her friends at the party rushed to restrain her. Anya Volkov, what the hell is wrong with you? You used to be just like us, always switching guys. You used to compete with us to see who could swap partners faster. Now you're calling us scum. What does that make you? Anya Volkov broke down, shaking her head frantically. I love my husband more than anything. I would never cheat. You're lying. You're trying to trick me. Love him most. Your kind of love is a joke. They showed her photos from their iPhones, pictures of her kissing various men. Anya Volkov froze, then fled in panic. She was convinced they were lying, that the photos were photoshopped. But after consulting 3 or 4 professional agencies, the results were unanimous. They weren't altered. The photos were real. How would she explain this? Would her husband be angry about what she'd done? He'd definitely be angry, wouldn't he? Damon might even leave her. Hating her past self, she broke things off with all her lovers. But she never imagined Leo Petrova, who seemed so docile on the surface, could be so terrifying underneath. He tried to run her down with his car. Why? Why did you push me away? I love you so much, more than anyone. Why won't you even look at me? If you won't be with me, then let's die together. Anya Volkov didn't want to die yet. She was carrying Damon's child, her only remaining connection to him. She couldn't let it be severed. She dodged with all her strength, instinctively shielding her stomach with both hands. But the child couldn't be saved. She had a miscarriage. Leo Petrova was charged with attempted murder and sent to prison, thanks to Anya Volkov, but even that wasn't enough for her. During a lull in his sentencing at the Manhattan Supreme Court, she lunged forward and stabbed him. Go to hell. Atone for my child's death. Chaos erupted in the courtroom. Anya Volkov should have been sentenced too, but she was diagnosed with a mental illness, declared mentally incompetent due to the successive traumas. Ultimately, she was committed to Silver Pine Sanatorium. Her daily behavior seemed normal. She kept her living space meticulously organized, except she would smile foolishly at empty space and talk to a crucifix pendant, clearly broken and pieced back together. Like right now. Honey, it's your birthday today? I'm gonna make you a red velvet cake and give you a beautiful peony bouquet. Honey, your smile is so sweet and soft, just like cotton candy. But why does this cotton candy taste salty? It's not good at all. Anya loves her honey the most. But why are you fading away? Please come back and see me, okay? A long time passed until her tears ran dry. Slowly, agonizingly, she began to understand. She had broken Damon's heart completely. He didn't love her anymore. He never wanted to see her again.